Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Life Struggles. In case you haven't seen a video of mine before, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not a pastor, I'm not an expert, not a theologian. I'm just here to talk about some things that I struggle with and other people struggle with. I do sometimes put a Bible verse at the end of the video. If you're not a Christian, please don't feel like you can't listen, because most of it is just me talking. Today we're going to talk about abuse. I think there's a lot of people that are struggling with this and they might not know what to do. Yes, I have actually been a victim of domestic abuse. I'm not really going to talk about it too much about my story. Maybe I will a little later when we're a little bit better friends. The first thing I want to say is it's okay to be ashamed. A lot of times when you are part of domestic abuse or any kind of abuse, you feel ashamed. You don't know why you let it happen. It's okay to feel that way, but don't get discouraged. Try to keep working through things and don't let it bring you down. Second thing, abuse isn't always physical. When people think about domestic abuse, they think about the big bad boyfriend or the husband who's punching and beating on a girlfriend or maybe his kids or his wife. But it can be many things. It can be emotional also. Emotional abuse is probably a lot more common than most people realize. And emotional abuse and mental abuse can be just as damaging as physical abuse. You might not have bruises or anything, but it still really gets to you. Yes, men can be abused. Most people think of men getting drunk and then screaming and yelling and beating their girlfriends or their wife or their kids. But women can too, and it's not talked about. And I think it should be talked about more. I know that men are supposed to be the big strong people that can protect everybody. But you can be abused from a female. It happens. You might not even realize what's happening. Maybe you're being gaslighted. What is gaslighting? I'll read you the definition. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which the abuser attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in their victim's mind. So does that sound familiar yet? Think about it. As somebody that you thought might be abusive, do they try to make you think that what you're feeling is not the truth? Are they causing you doubt? Typically, gaslighters are seeking to gain power and control over the other person by distorting reality and forcing them to question their own judgment and intuition. Like I said, I'm not going to talk too much about my story in this video like I did the last one. It's not really something that's over yet, so I'm not really comfortable with talking about it. But I can tell you, looking back, that there was a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of projection by the other person, and there's a lot of gaslighting. If you think something's wrong, and the other person is trying to convince you that there's nothing wrong, and that everything is your fault, and they're not doing anything wrong, you're probably getting some gaslighting. I want you to repeat this every day. I want you to write it somewhere and read it every day. And I want you to really, really believe this. Even if you don't think you can now, try very hard to believe this. You did nothing wrong. One more time. You did nothing wrong. If you're being abused, or you might even know someone that's being abused, it is not your fault. It is not their fault. It is the fault of the abuser. It's not your fault because you didn't cook dinner. It's not your fault because you forgot to do something. It's 100% the fault of the abuser. And going kind of along with that, you are not the bad person. Going back to the gaslighting, they might be trying to convince you that you're the bad one. Everything that happens is because you are a bad person. Nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with how they treat you or treat others. They're going to tell you that it's all your fault and you're the bad person. And that's not true. Okay, so what do we do? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is do what you have to do to protect yourself And if you have children, do what you have to do to protect yourself and your children. So you've decided to get out, but you don't know what to do. The first thing you should do is to make a plan. How are you going to get out? What will you do when you do get out? Where are you going to go? Part of your plan should include who can help you. Find somebody that you can trust that can help you with your plan and help you get out of the situation. This could be a family member or a friend, maybe a trusted coworker that you're close with, or even a pastor or a priest. If you're a child and you're trying to get away from family members that are abusive, look to a teacher or a school counselor. If you go to church, you can talk to a youth pastor or a preacher. Now, often when people are being abused, the abuser will try to drive them away from their family and friends. If this has happened to you and you've been kept away from your family and friends, seek help from people that are there to help others, like the police, a preacher. But try to find someone that can help you. If your abuser has kept you away from people and you have nowhere to go, try to find a domestic abuse shelter. There's plenty of them that you can go to, and they know how to keep you safe and keep you away from the people that are abusing you. Be prepared before you leave. Have a backpack or a suitcase with things that you'll need, like clothing and toiletries. If you're taking your kids, have some games and books to keep them busy. Have it where you can find it easily, whether that's in your car or hidden in a closet. It's good to have a plan, and it's good to try to stick to the plan, but also you need to be flexible. Maybe you want to leave on Monday when the abuser goes to work, and you're ready to leave, and he tells you that he has the day off. So don't give up. That just means we need to adjust the plan, but try to stick to the plan that you've created. This part's very important. Once you're out, do not go back. If your abuser finds you or you have to stay in contact with them for any reason, do not go back to them. They will reach out to you. They will tell you that they've changed. They will tell you that if you come back this time, things will be different. Don't press charges. Don't go to the police. Just come back. It will be okay. They're not telling you the truth. They're lying. Because the abuser is very used to controlling the person that they abuse. And when the person that's being abused stands up to them, they get angry. So they try to tell you that it'll be different. But if you go back, the cycle of abuse is just going to continue. And it might be worse. And then when you do want to get out again, it's going to be a lot harder. And this will keep continuing until maybe something very bad happens. And we don't want that. We want you to get out and be safe. This whole process can be very discouraging. Sometimes it's like one step forward and two steps back. And you have the best plan, and you know everything you're going to do, and then something happens. Don't give up. Keep trying. If you don't succeed, try again the next day. If things happen, keep trying, but don't give up. I just want to end this video with a couple Bible verses. Our first one is John 16:33. It states, "I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." So what is this verse saying? It's saying that Jesus wants you to have peace, even if you're having trouble, and that he overcame the world so he can help you get that peace. Next one's very well known to many people. Psalm 23:4. "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." For those of you not as familiar with the Bible, Psalm was written by David. This psalm was written by David, at least. And David's comparing God to a shepherd, which was a common profession back then. He's saying that like a shepherd is always close to his sheep to keep them comfort, God's always close to us to give us comfort. I think that's pretty cool. Last one, Psalm 30, verse 5. "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." So even if things aren't going so good for you right now, And you might even be crying and weeping. Just take heart, because when morning comes, we can rejoice.